Alright, this is the login screen to Agency 360. As you can see, I have my username typed in and my password, and later on we'll ensure that everybody's username and password is working correctly. And if you have any access issues, you should get with myself, Lieutenant Kinnemer, or Sergeant Emerson. If I didn't mention already, the way you access the login screen would be to type sherman.agency360.biz, and again, that's in the PowerPoint presentation. But if you can remember that, you'll have an easier time getting access to this page. So once you log in, you see a number of options. It brings you to your dashboard. Right here in your dashboard, you'll have My Action Items. It's typically a daily observation report, program critique, FTO critique, some form that you would need to sign and send on through the process. As you can go to the drop down, you can see under Field Training, there's a checklist task, and we'll go ahead and pull that up. It does take a while to load sometimes, especially with checklist tasks. There are 435 tasks. As it's pulling up here, some of it may not be in the field of view, but I'll go ahead and just talk about it anyways. As you can see here, you have the trainee, you have a list of trainees, and it continues to scroll down, but I know it's out of field of view. So you want to go ahead and select the trainee, what shift they're on. If I can move this screen over. Make sure you have the correct date, and then what phase. And then this is really just for the trainee to show what phase you're in. But if you want to filter some of these checklist items, you want to go by category and select which phase of checklist items you'd like to accomplish. As I stated, there are 435 of these checklist items. So if you have a trainee during a certain phase, you want to pull up that phase and make sure you're covering those before you're sending that trainee on to the next FTO. Going back under this tab, you have the daily observation. This is what you really need to familiarize yourself with. Again, you have the trainee, what phase they're in, date, what shift. Alright, I made a little adjustment in the screen size, and hopefully you can see everything I'm trying to show you a little bit better. Again, you select the shift, hours. If you have hours as far as on the half hour, say you went over and you got 12.5 hours for the day, unless it changes, we want to go ahead and round that up since it won't give you half-hour increments as an option. So if you have 12.5, just go ahead and round it up to 13. And as you scroll down for the daily observation, you can see the performance categories. When you pull up these performance categories, it'll bring you a description. So here we have general appearance, and it'll give you the standard evaluation guidelines as far as what's unacceptable, acceptable, and superior. And based on your observations, you go ahead and input a score for that day. There are 27 performance categories, and you can see the options here. Again, I recommend you go in and familiarize yourself with the program. So here's where you'll input the score they received for that day. No observation. Say they were at some other training, maybe firearms, or for some other reason you had to fill out a daily observation report, but you didn't grade them on these performance categories. You can fill in no observation. Not responding to training. That's after an issue has been brought up several times and the trainee is just not getting it. As you can see here, ATT. It's a column, additional training time, column in minutes. Say you took 10 minutes out to talk about general appearance. For example, the trainee does not know how to shine his or her boots, and you, for 10 minutes, you talked about it, you showed them the process on how to do that. So you just want to go ahead and throw in 10 minutes for the day. And additional training time will, it's really good to keep an overall running list of how much time is spent on each individual performance category, especially if the trainee is having a hard time grasping it. And then additional comments. For some of these, it'll require you to put a comment. For example, if it goes to 6, if you evaluate the trainee on a 4 or 5, it doesn't require a comment. Anything unacceptable will require a comment. So 3 and under and 6 and above. So trainee showed up for work with disheveled uniform, and I know I'm spelling that wrong, and tattered boots. However you want to, whatever observation is that you see that is appropriate to that score. So as you scroll down, make sure you complete each of these performance categories. And then you're going to select the strongest area, strongest performance for that day out of the categories. So make sure you select it and just write in here. Usually you have comments already for your strongest and your weakest area. What I do is I just copy that comment and just reiterate it down here. Add an activity item. Okay. So here's where you're going to go into your daily log. You will put whatever call you're on and just go in order at the start of the shift. You can see it has all the options for what we have in Mobiland. Put the location of the call and then what they did. And this will show us how many times they applied handcuffs, how many times they read Miranda. If they took a report, it keeps a track of that. And if they did something well, or something that of note as far as they did a task poorly, trainee improperly applied handcuffs, forgot to double lock, what have you, just put that information here. Okay. And let's see if I can get this screen in the field of view. Alright, has performance required additional training? Typically no, if they're going along to the training program, and they're just because they get it unacceptable doesn't necessarily require this to be filled in. Trainer comments. If there's something that maybe wasn't able to add comments above, and you want to just make note of it here, just go ahead and add whatever comments. It might be an explanation as far as, you know, a majority of the shift was spent for the trainee going home and getting a new uniform because it was damaged on the first call or what have you. Then you'll go ahead and put your password in, and then you'll submit it. And once you submit it, it goes back to the trainee for him or her to sign. And I will get us to that screen here in a second. It'll show up on their dashboard. Typically what I do is I log out and just have the trainee log in under their username, and they should be able to see whatever form, especially the daily observations. So, we're going to skip through here a little bit. FTO critique, that's more for the trainees to fill out after they completed a phase. And after they completed a program, have them fill out a critique. And this is good for us to know if we're doing it properly and if they're grasping whatever it is they're being taught. We talked about checklists, talked about daily observation, phase advancement. Okay, so you have a trainee that he's going to go to another FTO and he's advanced that phase, he or she. So you would click their name. It's very simple. All these are pretty much the same. What shift you're on, date, what phase that they're currently on. Does the field training staff recommend that the recruit advance to the next phase? Yes. Is recruit advancing early? Should be no, typically. Is an additional rotation necessary? No. Has a recruit trainee already received additional rotation? No. And then you'll put some comments. You know, I observed trainee to have good good command presence. However, orientation and city layout is still unfamiliar to trainee. And you'll put your password, and then you will submit that as well. So that would be the phase advancement. Let's click under program completion. And once they've completed it all, it's a similar form. You just fill that out. Under here, there are some resources. We'll start off with actually quiz. There's 3 quizzes in here, and I'm sure there's going to be more added to come. Usually these are policy based, as you can see here. These are all based off department policy. And if you have an idea for a quiz, you want to add a quiz, please submit that to myself, but more specifically to Lieutenant Kinnemer, and he can input the quiz after review. Clicked on resources. Sometimes it takes a while to load. Under resources, I've put some stuff in here as far as city ordinance and the training guide. If you have some other resources that would be good to click on while you're out in the field and discuss with the trainee, again, send it to myself, Lieutenant Kinnemer, Sergeant Emerson, and we should be able to put that information in here. Like I said, anything that you think would be beneficial to the field training program, we can, if it's a file, we can upload it in here under field training resource. And I apologize for moving the mouse around. Field training report. If we document properly as far as performance categories, what skills they performed, we can actually pull up just kind of a layout, a chart of how the trainees are performing, and all that's done through here. And if you want to see this more, I can just send me an email or catch me in the hallway or something, and I can show you more about it. The good thing about this is it shows FTO reports as far as our workload. It has the critiques that were given by the trainees, but especially workload. It'll show how much time you're spending with recruits as a whole and individually each training. Search option, I don't use it that much, and really these are system settings, so you don't need to familiarize yourself with that unless there's a change to a form that you want to make. As far as performance categories or really any form can be modified. Just bring that question to Lieutenant Kinnemer and you can make changes if it's feasible. So again, the main 2 tabs you need to familiarize yourself with. Dashboard, that's going to be your automatic as soon as you log in. And then under here, your checklist tasks, daily observations. Just don't neglect checklist tasks and pawn it off to the next FTO. Make sure that you're completing the checklist tasks at a minimum for your phase. And in there it has explained and actual field experience. So if you have any questions, get with myself or Lieutenant Kinnemer. Thank you.